Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Selamat sejahtera and good evening. Okay, we are already in week 10. We continue a topic on research methodology writing. Last week we are cover on qualitative methodology writing. So this week this topic is quantitative. Okay, we should be cover qualitative, quantitative, and following week we'll cover on the mixed method. The reason why I'm covered a lot of topic on research methodology. We start cover on the introduction on methodology, research design, then we cover research philosophy, research approach, and then we try to cover all the singles, all the mono methods. We start last week on qualitative, this week quantitative, and following week we cover on the mixed method. So I hope so that you will increase your understanding about methodology and specifically on the business research method. Okay. Okay. Today, compare last week. Actually, last week around 11, I think that we try to cover very basic in terms of qualitative methodology writing. I give you 11 example, but today I'm trying to cover on the 28 and 28 example on the quantitative methodology writing. Okay, we straight away we go to the first example. So when we need to write in your thesis, at least you need to refer important document such as articles or thesis. So in this case, we covered in this case for our class, we go through on the article journal in the top publisher. For example, this article from Emerald. Okay, the topic is about analyzing Arahnu in the context microcredit market theory, evidence from women micro entrepreneur in Malaysia. Okay, this is the title. Okay, we go to discuss and look, and then you try to get understanding and get the idea about the structure or academic writing in part of the methodology. Okay. So they start with to explain the primary data collected for the purpose of this study were obtained from the method of purposive sampling by using self-admin question. Purposive sampling is the sampling method that is selected based on the researcher knowledge of the population and what type of sample will be suited for the goal. It's useful to technique if the population of interest of that can be easily identified but not easily listed. As the focal point, this research is conduct study to women micro entrepreneur who rely Arahnu for capital. The most appropriate sampling was purposive sampling. The research obtained information for women micro entrepreneur who use Arahnu from their friend in the same market and selected this woman micro entrepreneur as the sample to be included in the study. So the study was conducted in 3 states, Malaysia, Kelantan, Terengganu, and Kedah. Okay, according to Department of Statistics Malaysia, these 3 states are. So this is the justification why they choose 3 states here. This reason why these states have majority women micro entrepreneur and have higher poverty in this compare of other state in the Malaysia. The questionnaire was distributed to the total 750 participants, which each state contribute 250 respondents. Okay, so this study covered in Kelantan, Terengganu, and Kedah. The reason why, based on the Department Statistics Malaysia, proved that these 3 states have majority women micro. So this is really important when you conduct in quantitative research, for example, that you need to have the justify when you go to the selections into your methodology or your location. You decide you want to collect data based on these 3 states, but you need to give the justification. Okay, next they discuss regarding the numbers of participation. So they contribute on the 250 respondents out the 750 questionnaire distributes. Okay, 629 survey were written In total, 29 survey has more than 25% in the item answered. The result in the effective sample. 600 usable complete questionnaire for the purpose data analysis. For based on the screening, the final data is 600 samples. Okay, so analysis based on the descriptive and inferential statistic. On this study, they use descriptive and inferential statistic using SPSS, okay, and SEM, structural question model. In a movement structure, analyze a movement structure is used because of this capability for handling multiple group analysis, non-normal variable, and missing data. So in order to make sure that the data is strong and fit, so the part of the validity and for the screening on data should be performed before your final your analysis using specific software such as SPSS or SEM. Okay, we go to the second example, and this one, attitude toward entrepreneurship, a study among Asnaf millennial in Malaysia. Okay. Okay, they are mentioned for in the first paragraph, the first line. This is a cross-sectional study, and we already discussed that in time horizon we have two, longitudinal study and cross-sectional. So mostly in research in quantitative is more to friendly use this one, and cross-sectional study that collected the quantitative data via structured interview. Okay, this one highlight the structured interview. Okay, I already explained. So we have structured interview, semi-structured interview, and unstructured interview. For purposely for the quantitative, we also accept for the structured interview from the Asnaf millennial in Kelantan. This population was selected. This one also give the justify why they choose this Asnaf millennial in Kelantan. This because was selected because the poverty rate in Kelantan is the highest in Peninsular Malaysia. Besides that, Kelantan is vulnerable and exposed to flood. Okay, this study selected 2,667 Asnaf respondent who were poor to eligible for the monthly zakat 400 for Majlis Agama Islam Kelantan. Okay, so they highlight the study applies several stages of cluster as the approach suitable for alter the district. First, the research select the one territory of region to represent the notice, and Tumpat Bachok, for example, and Southeast Jeli and Gomusang, part is Kelantan that resided by Asnaf recipient in rural area and underdeveloped area represent the poor. So dia bagi reason more specifically lah. So dalam Kelantan, so dia identify the cluster, okay, ada buat notice and Southeast area. Okay, second, research randomly selected Asnaf in each area to identify Asnaf millennial that represent the population. So for Tumpat, for example, how to identify the Asnaf from the Tumpat, dia do the randomly and secara rawak. This study consider the model for people in the household from LPPKN, from Lembaga Pendidikan Pembangunan Negara, and one of them is classified millennial between age 70 to 35. Okay. Okay, why I try to give you example like this? So I just to show with you, in order to write your methodology in your thesis, you need to know that what is exactly regarding on the research, how you want to write in the methodology part. So this is become the idea. So every article you can get the beneficial. So from this first example, you have idea. So you go to the second paper, you get another idea. So this really important. Okay, we go to the number 3, an examination of the factors affecting consumer purchase decision in the Malaysia retail market. Okay, they start with the research predict a purchase decision in retail industry. Therefore, the data was collected using survey method. So to remind again, in quantitative, we have 2 as the basic. So what is the research strategy in quantitative? Number 1 is survey, number 2 is experiment. Okay. In this study using survey method, 278 consumer of the several department store in East Coast Malaysia. The selection of quantitative approach, okay, the selection quantitative approach to conduct this research was considered appropriate to involve as many participants and possible and obtain large number of respondents. So this is the reason lah, because why they choose the survey, why they choose the questionnaire, to do you want to increase and involve sebanyak mungkin lah, involve as many participant and possible in their study. Additionally, quantitative survey methodology is the research the best choice when the target population comprise largest number. So ni the reason lah. So kita pun dah buat comparison between qualitative and quantitative. The difference regarding on the numbers should be quantitative a large number, compare the qualitative small number. Okay, comprise a large number of individuals without requiring special skill to fill in the questionnaire. Okay, according to McDaniel and Gates, illustrate that quantitative survey enable researchers to conduct statistical analysis and generalize the result in the given context. To minimize the response bias and sampling error, respondents will brief about the purpose of the study and ensure that this answer will keep confidential. Okay, before start the data collection process, the questionnaire was designed based on several measurement items for the construct. Purchase decision, ini dia punya topik, purchase decision was measured using 5 Likert item scale, adapted meaning that modified, adapted you modified from the previous study from Sharif et al. 2008. Furthermore, the measurement scale of corporate social responsibility was adapted from Tong and Wong. To measure social media marketing, 5 items was taken from the study of Shivinsky and Dabrowski. Okay, in addition, the item used measure store environment. Okay, in this paragraph, they explain about their variable, and one variable to another variable. From this variable, they are adapted from who. So they explain one to one. Okay. To measure sales promotion, a total 4 items were taken from these authors and modified the fixed content of this study. Finally, perceived value was measured using 4 items taken for the perceived amenity and maturity. All these items were measured on a 5-point Likert scale, which range of strongly disagree to strongly disagree. So dia guna 5 Likert scale dan dia punya term dekat sini adalah strongly disagree to strongly agree. So this paragraph to highlight in terms of instrument items. So from the variable and or from the construct, each construct, there are actually adapt specific authors, okay, or previous study. Okay, we go to the number 4, gap between competencies and importance of employability skills evident from Malaysia. Okay, despite they explain in this study, employability skill are categorized under 50 major components based on the major key competencies model. So they highlight one by one: start communication skill, teamwork skill, problem solving skill, initiative and enterprise skill, planning and organize skills, self-management skill, learning skill, technology, leadership and entrepreneurship skill. Okay, this framework is also linked to the framework developed by Jelas and Azman. In this study, general skills consist of 10 skills: communication, numeracy, IT, learning how to learn, problem solving, working with others, and subject-specific competency. And Jelas and Azman also from Bernard All and Comfort. The major of employability skill consists of communication. So this first paragraph, they highlight about the component. Okay, they highlight that they actually refer from the previous study. Okay. The second paragraph to highlight the participants, and participant also we call that respondent, but mostly and I'm not saying that wrong, but mostly in qualitative they're using the words of the participant, but for the quantitative sometimes they're using the word is respondent. Sometimes we also notice that they're using the words of the participant. Sorry, they use a term of participant. The participant consists of final year student. Okay, so this one, if you are study from the final year student, so this is the idea. So the participant consists of final year student in bakery and culinary program. Stratified, so they are using the technique sampling. Stratified sampling was used to select students in this hospitality program from 2022 vocational college in Malaysia. The researcher personally visited, this is really important. So the researcher personally visit the vocational college and follow up the official approval for intention with the principal and vocational college. After confirmation with the teachers of the college, the researchers distributes questionnaire to the student according to their course, bakery and culinary. Questionnaire was distributed to 841 students in 5 regions in Malaysia. In general, the respondents spent 30 minutes to 35 minutes to respond the questionnaire completely, descriptive analysis, and pair sample t-test. So they go to the very specifically in terms of analysis. In this study, they use the descriptive and the pair sample t-test was conducted to analyze the data in order to answer their specific objective. So this paragraph to how that in this case also you can detail. So here the detail on the minutes and to specifically advise in order to answer your questionnaire. So they are also highlight that what type of the analysis in order to achieve their objective. They are explain it very simple, explain it what is actually the analysis technique used in order to get the result. They use the descriptive and pair sample t-test. Okay, number 5, the topic is brand image and consumer satisfaction toward Islamic travel package, a study on tourism entrepreneurship in Malaysia. Okay, the first paragraph, very short paragraph, straightforward. This study used cross-sectional design and quantitative method to examine the factor affect brand image and consumer satisfaction in Islamic travel package. The platform was Google Form to collect the data. The platform is chosen due to features such as linking Google account and doc editor. Then the data will import to statistical package SPSS and smart PLS for the further analysis. So this they highlight the very short intro. So what is exactly the flow activity on their methodology. But they go to the specifically, they start 3.1 is the research instrument. The questionnaire was, the questionnaire for the online survey was designed using simple and unbiased wording so that the responder could easily understand the question. Okay. Table 1 show the summary of each variable and source. You can also add table from your explaining. A 7-point Likert scale, 7 Likert scale, very strong, disagree, strongly disagree, disagree, neutral edge, strongly agree, and very strongly agree. Was used for all the variable. Okay, they discuss 3.2. After discuss 3.1 research instrument, 3.2 is about the sample selection and data collection. So the target population for this study was consumer who would participate in Islamic travel package for several companies that offer Islamic product and services. This study calculate minimum sample size, okay, using the G power. So we have a lot of tools to measure of this. About the sampling, you can use for example, you can use a table in a Grady Morgan. So sometimes you can using the G power. This one actually you can using this. When you go to the Google, try to type G power, you can get the free download. This part, G power software, which requires sample size 146 to test the model with the 6 predictors. The researcher obtained lists of 2,000 customers who travel with Islamic travel package and offer separate company, and email with online survey. This one with emails, okay, email with an online survey link was sent to the list customer, and total of 163 respondents completed from the within a week, which was more than the required sample size. Okay. So in the part from the G power, just identify that we should have at least 146. But in this study, they have achieved 163 respondent complete within a week. Okay, cepatlah. Okay, shaping entrepreneurship or shape entrepreneurial intention among youngsters in Malaysia. Okay, the first paragraph, according to the formal finding, exposed to entrepreneurship education is expected influence entrepreneurship attitude towards entrepreneurship. This further encourage financial support, so market accessibility. The entrepreneurial attitude also influence the entrepreneurial intention with the ventures of entrepreneurship. The research examine the finding of the previous research scholar in Malaysia scenario. So this is from the previous research to cover this topic that you highlight a few scholars. Okay, you go through the second paragraph. This research was conducted based on cross-sectional primary data collection with survey questionnaire was distributed to the student at the multimedia universities in Asia. Each of these contract in the research framework is represented by 6 indicators. To easy the analysis process, is the indicator for all construct is labeled as the measurement item. So they are also at a table. So this survey questionnaire was reviewed by several academicians. So this part you send to expert to ensure that all the measurement items represent a respective construct. A further review was made by several students to ensure that questionnaire could be easily understood. Each of the measurement item in questionnaire was measured using 7-point Likert scale, okay, based on the statistical viewpoint, although the original Likert scale was 5-point. The mean correlates stronger with the observed significant level using 7. Okay, from the Lewis, the mean correlates stronger with the observed significant level using 7-point Likert scale. So they give the reason why they choose 7 Likert scale. The measurement accuracy will be less for the scale below 5-point and above 7-point. The odd number of the scale allowed respondent to choose neutral feedback instead of being forced of choose their positive negative feedbacks, because this 7-point scale is highly suitable for the research. So the reason give the why they use a 7 Likert scale also have their highlight in this paragraph. Okay, example number 7, Amanah and Muslim identify relationship with religious and psychological adjustment in Malaysia. Okay, I know that some of topic is quite not related to us, but the most important thing why I'm covered on this quantitative methodology writing, first thing first, you first make your confidence, increase your confidence in order to write your methodology. So second part is you want to highlight that the justification mostly important thing when you make it decision or you write something, please prove on your another proven from previous study, or you need to have the very right and fit justify in order to make sure that okay your explaining is clear. Okay, they'll start with the participants, student at the International Islamic University Kuala Lumpur, serve as research participants. There are 56 lelaki, men, and 153 women. So were 21.8 years old average. Okay, the simple include 200 Malay, 3 Indian, 2 Turks, 2 Arabs, and Caucasian, and 1 Thai. All students were Sunni Muslim. Okay. Measure a single questionnaire booklet contain English version of all skills. So ada questionnaire. After obtain background information on the first page, the booklet presented instrument in order to their description below. Each measure using 1 strongly discrete to 5 strongly gray for Likert scale response option. In other related project, procedure maximize internal reliability by eliminates any item display a negative display a negative item or total correlate scoring for all measures involve the use of the average response per item. So they make a screening. So they want to eliminate any item that not fulfill the requirements. Okay, number 8, sustainability of marine park in knowledge, attitudes, behavior, skill, relevance. Okay, this one they start with the initial questionnaire was drafted based on the past literature. Okay, we can see that a few example. Okay, we have done until number 8, so we can look that if the study on the quantitative, mostly of research will be used as questionnaire as their research instruments. Okay, we continue. All right, this was done by accommodate respondent language preference and to validate their understanding. The pretest was conducted with a panel of the experts consisting of 3 tourism industry practitioners and 4 university academics. So they highlight that we need to do the sound like expert analysis, and we need to send to the expert in order to improvise our project, our research projects. So in this part, they are divide and panel consists on the industrials and from an academic also. The was followed by respondent pretest that was conducted for the questionnaire is all the 3 language among 3 respondent and type per language. Based on the feedback from the expert and respondent, a minor modification were made to wording and instruction before the final questionnaire was distributed. So this one really important, and before you send your questionnaire, make sure that all thing don't have any single thing make it defect of the problem, and you should be represent a very good quality of your set of your questionnaire. Okay, the final questionnaire consists of 3 sections. The first section item measure the 3 dimensions. So based on their study, their dimension about the environmental knowledge. The question was from the Mustafa and Kaiser and Hussein. The knowledge issue consists of 9 items. Okay, the last one, the NEP scale has been widely used to measure environmental attitude previously using direct self-reporting reported methods. Okay, the second section was followed by 7 items measuring site-specific responsible environmental behavior that were adopted. Alright, we go to the next. Awareness, knowledge, and attitude. We call that AKA. A for awareness, K for knowledge, another A is attitudes of government secondary school student on the use antibiotic in Shah Malaysia. Okay, the cross-sectional study. Okay, they are also highlight. I think that a few and mostly 4 or 5 articles we did cover tonight. We can see that they are start or they are at least need to discuss part of the time horizon. So mostly in quantitative, they're using the cross-sectional study. So that's why in the first line of this methodology, they explain this cross-sectional study was conducted among 166 government secondary school students from the Sekolah Malaysia Kebangsaan Alam Megah 1 and Sekolah Menengah Kebangsaan Alam Megah 2 in Shah Alam Selangor. The inclusion criteria of the participation of this study were age 13, 14 and 16, able to read a Malaysian and or English language, consent and voluntary participation without the compensation. The questionnaire was composed social demographic character, aka on this use antibiotic in symptom of UTI, which a total of 27 questionnaire divide the 3 domains. Okay, the collected data were analyzed using SPSS. Demographic characters were summarized using the descriptive statistic, and the result were expressed in the frequency of percentage. Parametric tests such as one-way analysis or variance. ANOVA lah kita panggil. Independent test, Pearson correlation were performed to evaluate the association between the use demographic characteristic and AKL levels. A p-values of reduced 0.05 was considered statistically significant in these two tail tests. Okay. Okay, this is number 10. Parents just don't understand generation perception of education and work. So this one, they start with the data, use this paper, come from the local special purpose sample survey conducted by author. This was a 2015 graduate employee study sponsored by British Council. It will particularly emphasize on TNHE. Student was respond were mainly enrolled the private. HEI respond 358 students, meaning that 83%, okay, 31 parents and 40 students. The later involved the focus group discussion and interview were obtained. Okay, data from 358 student respondents. Okay, the 40 student participate in several group interview. The student are 4 focus group. Separate online questionnaire was also used to collect them from there. So this part also they are using the online questionnaire. As for demography, the student survey respond that GES2 consists of more females than males who they were mostly in Malaysia. Okay, the enroll more the social. Then the physical science are mostly private tertiary education institute, 76%. Among 358 student respondent, only 31 parents responded. The composition and parent respondent were in the line that of student, which is 77% being nation, 80% with the children in private institution, and 59% enrolled the social science program. And issues of note that the choice of analytical method comprise perception, since this comprise involve numerical value mean score. Tests like the two sample t-test and mean and Wilcoxon rank some are tests suggested. However, since score give a completely subjective, it's possible that one party will score consistently above the others. As a result, such as tests would not yield meaningful result, hence only qualitative comparison of ranking is possible and use this paper. Okay, number 11, micro enterprise development training and entrepreneurial competencies among low-income household in Malaysia. Okay, they start first paragraph. They explain on the generally on the research methodology. They start the study adapted cross-sectional. Okay, this one also the example that the first line they highlight the cross-sectional design in collection quantitative structured interview and was conduct to assess the impact enterprise development. Okay, blah 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 blah. The respondent was participate in the development program. This IKASIH, National Poverty Data Bank, complete information regarding the development organization. Participation at least low income and poor household will obtain from IKASIH National Poverty Data Banks. The process provides a list 400 randomly selected low income and poor household from the 4 stage Kelantan, Terengganu, Kedah and Perlis. A total 300 respondents agreed to participate in the research survey and consented the research team to conduct interview in the residence. Okay, they also highlight regarding the sample. So sample using, in order to get the size sampling, they're using the G power based on the power of 0.5, effect of 0.15, require sample size 89 to the model. However, avoid the possible complication arise from the small sample size. This study collected from the 300 micro entrepreneur residing in 4 states in Malaysia. Then they discuss about research instrument using questionnaire. The instrument measure competency. So this is the factors under on the instruments. So ada organizing competency, opportunity recognition competency and strategic competency. The questionnaire was careful, modified and designed in a simple structure with unbiased wordings. This is easy to respond to understanding toward the providing perception answer. Okay, still a same articles. This paragraph they discuss more details regarding on the p-value or multivariate kurtosis. So they explain one by one. So first thing first, they also have citation from air. Okay, so from the chin. Okay, so for example, they highlight on the chin the variant inflation factors where F represent the inflation of variant due to present multicolority with the construct. Okay, the discriminant validity PLS SAM. So ni explain about the PLS dengan SAM. Okay, number 12, relationship between human resource management practice, ethical climates and organizational performance, the mislink, then and empirical analysis. Let's start with the quantitative survey research approach using exploratory, descriptive and cross-sectional design was employed in this study to understand the mediating effect of EC on the relation between performance appraisal and OP. Decision on select type of research design to be used depend on the understanding and clearness of the research problem. In this case, the research is required to understand problem before develop any model. So this one is really important. So this one also we can improve our knowledge from the citation. Research design is to be used depend on understanding and clearness of the research problem. In this case, the research is required to understand the problem before develop any models. Okay, descriptive research is conducted when there are some understanding of the nature of the problem. Such research study is used to provide a more specific description of the problem. The research setting was cross-sectional. So this one kadang-kadang if you read the article journal, you can highlight lah, oh, see this one using the cross-sectionals. Okay, this actually the quantitative survey. Okay, next, self-admin, hand deliver and collect survey questionnaire was used to main source. Okay, from the respondent actually who are employed in Ministry of Education, parastatals, board of agency in 7 states in northern Nigeria. For this study, probability sampling method and technique were used. Each unit of the population has to equal chance to being selected in the sample. Simple random and stratified sampling technique was being utilized. Okay, a comprehensive population framework employee in the 7 states of the northern Nigeria accumulated and the sample was calculated to the 219. Okay, last kali sample size adalah 216. Okay. Okay, they also explain same article. The step follow the select the sample. So this is a strategy lah. Sometimes we have the research strategy, but the most important thing how to implement that strategy. So what is your strategy in order to make sure that the distribute questionnaire you can get the highest numbers feedbacks. Okay, what is your strategy? So in this paragraph explain little bit on that. Okay. Alright, the method of analysis used this study was SAM. Okay, so this PLS part model was considered appropriate technique. So they need give the justification. One, you mentioned that in this research, in order to solve this problem using the SAM PLS, then here they explain also was considered appropriate technique of data analysis for some reason. First, PLS part modeling considered the being suitable data analysis technique in the study because it can simultaneous assess the measurement model which describe the link between theory, latent construct and the data corresponding indicator as well as relation among construct also called the structure model. Okay, second, the goal of the parent study is to predict the mediating effect of EC on the relationship between performance appraisal, hence the present study predictive oriented. PLS parts modeling is appropriate. Finally, PLS parts modeling is deep appropriate because it has been successfully applied in an extent management related study. Okay, we go through the 13, understanding purchase intention of university student toward skincare products. Okay, they highlight the first paragraph in generally knowledge that the young generation is image driven and they emphasize more on materialistic values such as money, self-image, and fame. Okay. This connotation is perhaps the key reason why the skincare industry on the rise globally with regard to the methodology. Is total 150 university students in Malacca, Malaysia was recruit examining the young consumer behavior towards skincare product in the country. The current study has also employed a non-probability convenience sampling, and data was collected using questionnaire that comprised of closed-in questionnaire. Convenience sampling was especially selected because they are easily to access. So this one you highlight that the chosen is a convenience sampling, but you need to know that what is the convenience sampling, so how to handle of this sampling. Okay. Additionally, questionnaire was designed to address the data rich respondent demography information or the dependent variables. Measurement for this variable was designed 5-point Likert scale. The data will further analyze using smart PLS to perform the measurement model and the structural model. Okay, this is your this is your dia punya framework lah. Okay, understanding purchase intention, so that the brand awareness, brand association, perceived quality, and brand loyalty. So this is some example. So you can also highlight on this and your methodology writing. Okay, some study, when you want to explain the previous scholar, this one you need to discuss in literature review. For methodology, actually we don't make a review, but if this is a process that commonly we call that research activity process. Okay, is it okay? Okay, number 14, purchasing functional food to stay fit. Okay, they highlight the red color. The willingness to purchase function food is placed as dependent variable, while two others three variables are placed independent variables. Okay, this because few researchers have considered lifestyle adaptation, social media influence that food consumption awareness as possible determinant of for consumer willingness to purchase functional food, parallel to the former finding to willings to purchase functional food in the research based on the three chosen variable. Okay, all right. Hence, the research deployed with the combination of finding previously made by other research scholars and surrounding lifestyle of the respondent. Okay, continue. So in this research also using the Likert scales, okay, based on the categorical data. In Malaysia, the term youth is used for those whose age range between 15 and 13. However, this research focus respondents were mainly young people between age 15 and 24 years for capital city in Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia. Okay, using SPSS, overall 200 data was used to statistical analysis to determine the finding. Okay, paper number 15 from Siti Salbiha, improving accessibility and security on document management system, a Malaysia case study. Okay, we are ready number 15. So why the reason I'm highlight in the first minute before we start our class that I'm highlight that this is really important. So we need to learn and learn and learn. So try to make it many idea and many understanding, many increase your clear what is a thesis, what is exactly I need to write in my methodology, for example. So this example, at least I really hope so that you will be increase your understanding in order to write in the chapter methodology. Okay, this one research design. They start with the primary phase of the research and define the research problem by primarily investigate local governments, the land of district office, North-West Penang. This then follow the development of the initial literature on the adaptation security technology for the accessibility factor in Malaysia government agency and application of NFC technology. The initial literature would allow us to gain a clear understanding about DMS, okay, accessibility and security system, as well as the application technology with the management Malaysian governments. The second phase of the research also, this part research design, they explain phase by phase. So they go through the second phase. Second phase of research would involve the survey that we distribute to 80 staff from different departments with the Penang government agencies, so that works directly with the land and district office. The questionnaire include 3 sections. We are the respondent basic information, research on the management and safety of the available hard copy document. Okay, the aim of this survey are to identify the security and access issues on the available document management system, and the label acceptance was used among the Penang government staff toward the current process on their working procedure. Okay, after the survey, the collection data was analyzed to identify the significant factors that should be considered and mentioned earlier. Next, framework solution is proposed from the documentation storage system based on the result and feedback from the second of this research. Okay, we also conduct the verification process of the proposed frameworks. Staff will participate earlier in the initial survey. Lastly, the overall outcome result from this research proposed framework will further discuss with the further research focus that should be conducted. So this really important lah. So in chapter 3 tu, biasanya kalau kita come up dengan research framework is actually how that they are aligned in order to make it selection of the analysis. So in order to analyze, we the researcher think a lot of things. So why the reason is you need to cover, discuss about the from the previous study. For example, from the previous study, they are also support that in one part of one specific outline, we need to support the literature review or give the justification why we do this, why we choose this. Okay, using SERVQUAL to determine generation Y succession toward hotel industry in Malaysia. I think that SERVQUAL is quite synonym in the business research method. Okay, mostly the what we call that, the originality, that the popularized on the model or the framework on the SERVQUAL is Parosuraman. Parosuraman is actually background here from business and marketing research. Okay, research methodology, the type of study or research problems and the research objective determine the method for the data. So that's really important in order to determine the methods. So we need to know that about our research problem and objective. The research hence is formal, communicative, descriptive, cross-sectional, statistical, and involved field research. That survey methods with the data collection, which is close-ended. Self-admin questionnaire was distributed targeted Gen Y. Okay, to from the Bryman. The questionnaire developed for the research was adapted from Kim Sul with the few amendments. So this instrument is actually from the previous authors. This part constitutes of the 5 dimensions of SERVQUAL. So they highlight on the 5 dimensions of SERVQUAL using the 5-point Likert scales. Okay, well, 1 represents strongly degree and 5 represents strongly agree. Okay. Non-probability judgment sampling, also not the purposive sampling, was adopted with the required researcher approved specific target respondent who are judged appropriate to provide. Okay, if you notice that, I noticed that at least I have 2 or 3 from this article. Actually, they are using the purposive sampling, but sometimes in the basic information or basic knowledge, sometimes we always think that probability sampling for the quantitative, non-probability sampling for the qualitative. But in this case, prove that we can also, your study is quantitative, you can also use the what we call that the purposive sampling represent non-probability sampling. Okay. All right. From here to explain about the geography also. Geography area was to specific distribute to the questionnaire. Klang Valley was chosen. So the bagi reason nanti. Klang Valley was chosen due to strategic locations and population diversity that make the culture, technology, and economic hub of Malaysia. For key area, Gombak, Klang, Ampang, and Putrajaya were selected to represent Klang Valley, North, South, East, and West respectively. Okay, they are choosing the Klang Valley, but they go to the by zone and North, South, East, and West. Okay. Next, they discuss about distribute the numbers of questionnaires. Distribute to 400 questionnaires in above mentioned, collect minimum at least 200 response. Such sample size were deemed sufficient to represent the Malaysia Gen Y hotel industry population. So this is a scholar on management sekarang. And the new one, they upgrade. This is a new book or research methodology. So now this sekarang will be paired with the Baugi, okay, Azamian also. About 40% of the total Malaysia population belong Gen Y. Sounders and Levis have also suggested minimum 200 respondents in the business area are adequate. So we have specifically specific numbers by using the size sampling by using J power also. We also can make it a general number, but this one advice from the specific research scholar on the business method research. Okay. Alright, there the details. So number 17, technological capability, relational capability, and first firm performance, the role of learning capability. Okay, I just make it forward. So sometimes they quite redundant. So you already clear. So in this part, they're using the cluster sampling technique. So in quantitative, so not quantitative, sorry. For the probability sampling, we have stratified random sampling, cluster sampling, systematic random sampling. So in this case, they're using the cluster sampling technique. Cluster sampling, they give definition. Cluster sampling is a probability sampling technique that is being used in study that covers a wide geographical area. Consequently, in this study area, Northern Nigeria was divided into the 3 clusters based on the 3 geopolitical zones. Okay, that's the reason why they choose the cluster sampling. Okay, the survey measurement item of this all variable study was adapted from the phrase literature. Okay, the 6 measurement item SME performance adapted from the, so you need to give detail on this. All the authors kita lah as a researcher, in order to be right in our thesis, we need also to discuss part of measurements. Okay, in this case, this measurement is for the quantitative research. Okay, at least you need to highlight that regarding on this measurement, what specific scholar that you are actually adapt from specific scholar, you need to highlight, you need to cite them. Okay, 18 strategic improvisation and HEI performance, the moderating role of organizational culture. So they start explain the construct first paragraph to explain the construct. Then discuss the Likert scale, 5-point Likert scales. So they highlight the items that use specifically the study, operationalize flexibility and provide organizational capability, adapt changing environmental demand rapidly and effortlessly. Okay, in terms of OC, the popular, so this one also highlight the item and item. Okay, a performance is operationalize the ability to institutional efficiency and few resources also provide the need service to the satisfaction of the employee and customer. Alright. Analysis procedure in this study was used PLSM version 3 to analyze the hypothesis of the study. Besides its friendly geography nature, PLSM has minimal restriction to both size and normality data. Okay, this I like the same thing lah. So in order to that this one also the issue one lah. When you refer thesis by thesis, when they are study on the PLSM, we can see that regarding on the validity. So some of other research not use PLSM, their validity is very rigorous. Okay, for example, they also need to screening by normality test to make sure that the data is normal. So they are screening on in terms of EFA, exploratory factor analysis. But some, and that I'm refer the thesis, some of the researcher actually no need to study on the normality because PLS can be applied both. Your data is normal or not normal, you can still can be used for the PLSM. So that's the reason lah. Okay, next, furthermore, PLSM is ideal for moderating analysis. So the bagi reason, so siapa nak buat PLS, SAM PLS, you have need to find the justification. So this is one example. Furthermore, PLSM is ideal for moderating analysis because it provides for measurement error. So this is the reason why you need to study moderating. From this moderating, why you choose PLSM? Because it's provide for measurement error, thereby providing better and precise result. Okay, this is the reason. Also, PLSM has ability to estimate relationship both inner models and outer models simultaneously, which are two basic two-step process to identify. Okay, from the PLS, what is actually the process lah. Number 19, effect of economic vulnerability on the entrepreneurial competencies among Malaysian micro entrepreneurs. Okay, this study had adopted cross-sectional design, and again, they starting with the time horizons by using quantitative data where structured interview. So they're using also structured interview. I think from here, I think that we already find that at least 2 articles, at least they do the interview, meaning that if you are studying quantitative, you can still using interview, but the type of the interview is the structured interview. Okay, this is a proof that another research also use the interview in your quantitative research. Okay, the respondent were selected from low income and poor household, interest, social economic developments. So as a result, at least 400 randomly selected low income. So they're using randomly. Okay, low income and poor household from the Kelantan, Terengganu and Kedah place as we obtained. Blah 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 blah. The process of data collection took the 2 months from October until November. So this part They explain also the date specifically, monthly, their data collection. As a result, total 300 respondent has agreed to research team to visit their premise and interview them. Okay. Sample size was determined by using G power. Okay, that from here that we notify that. So nowadays, a lot of the researcher will be choose a G power in order to identify their size sampling. So G power is widely related lah. It's not just only in Malaysia, in overseas also, they are mostly many of researcher agree that in order to get the size sampling, it's better you use the G power. I'm not say that G power is the best, but mostly right now, practically some of the knowledge on your supervisor and the evaluator also sound like agree that when you choose G power. So G power actually, in order to get the sample size, you can identify first. My research is multiple regression. So when we know that our mains analysis that they can provide the ideals size sample based on your type of your analysis. So this is another tips you should be know that what the reason the most of research use the G power in order to identify their size sampling. Okay, so next they explain on the questionnaire. Okay, questionnaire design adapted from the literature. So they explain about the multivariate normality. Okay, from multivariate normality, they explain on the normality through the use web power online tools, the web power that calculate Maldia, multivariate skewness and kurtosis. Okay, indicate that p-value Maldia multivariate kurtosis exceed 0.05, thus affirm that normality of multivariate. So they also explain the data analysis method. They're using the PLSM. Okay. Next, number 20 is understanding of opinion on sustainable development among youths in higher education institutions in Penang, Malaysia. Okay. Methodology. So first thing first, the first paragraph to explain the primary data obtained from the questionnaire. Okay. They identify that actually respondent for their study youths and higher education institution from Penang and Inti International College, Open University Malaysia, Segi College, KDU, Cosmo Point and University Science Malaysia. Okay. Next, they give the reasons, blah blah blah. Okay. Penang has B student as a name. Penang has B choosers, but they highlight they study in Penang. So why Penang? Because the state have been heavily involved implementing sustainability among its peoples. Furthermore, Penang aspired to become the first green and sustainable state in Malaysia. This one, how to get this? This fact is from the portal Rasmi Kerajaan Negeri Pulau Pinang in 2015. Okay, next, meanwhile, response in this research we acquire using the cluster sampling. So they use the technique sampling cluster. The questionnaire was adapted from the survey study Mediterranean, your youth response towards sustainable development and current crisis for conduct UNESCO office in Venice 2015. So this another explaining regarding on the survey and survey questionnaire. Okay. Okay, next. So a lot of things that discussed regarding on the item in the questionnaire and also Scala Likert. Okay, Chrombash Alpha test of internal contingency reveal that coefficients is of 0.8 and 0.9, meaning that acceptable because in Chrombash Alpha at least you get more than 0.7. According to Tawakal and Denix, there are different report about acceptable value of alpha range from 0.7 to 0.75. Actually, a lot of the scholar. So some of the scholar also say that, okay, if you achieve above 0.6, also you can achieve reliability. Or some of research highlight that recommend that you should be more than 0.7. Some, if you are study as common study, you should be increase your reliability 0.8. If you're this is a new study, at least you can achieve less than more than 0.6. So this actually you need to follow from the book research method or the article journal to support this justification why you choose this and why you not choose that. Okay. Okay, next 21, relationship between workplace spirituality and works to family arrangement in selected public sector organization in Malaysia. So I just to highlight the most important thing and then make it summarize. The total number population 100 from 2 different departments in public organization in Kuching. two public organizations were being sought due to nature organization, both direct and indirect. So also the same thing, they're using DigiPower. Okay, lastly, they identify the half of respondents are females. Meanwhile, majority of respondents are married. So this is actually output from the demographic information. Also the measure, so this part they mention about the measure, also the Likert 5 Likert scale. Meanwhile, the instrument regarding the 6 item from this scholar, so this item from this scholar will be present regarding on the measure, or sometimes we call that instruments. Okay, I think this one I'm skip. Okay, we go to the 22 confirmatory factor analysis, the behavior intention to use smart wellness variable in Malaysia. In order to test the proposed model, this is another difference. So they highlight the research methodology. Number one is skill development. In order to test the proposed model, a web-based questionnaire was developed. Okay, these include the item for all construct engaged in the conceptual research method. Almost all measurement item indicator were extract based on the comprehensive search of previous study, which were validate widely used in IoT on wireless technology adoption research. So they highlight on this first thing first lah, before kita our instrument actually adapt from who. So we use strategic questionnaire, we send specific of your linear analysis, your Scala Likert scale. Before that, they explain in order that in order to test your proposed model, or in order you to test your objective, and in order to achieve your problem statement, that they start with this. Okay, next, they will explain the response was not selected intentionally randomly. You should answer strongly disagree with the statement to ensure you have read all questions carefully. In addition, any difference between these two versions were minimized by using the back translation procedure. So in this also, if you are using the common or the previous questionnaire, for example, questionnaire in English, so you want to collect data in Malaysia, mostly your respondent is easy to understand if you use the Malay language. So you need to translate. Mostly we have I think at least three lah. We have three type of translation: back-to-back translation, parallel translation, and direct translation. But mostly practical and encouraged is back-to-back translation. Okay. Okay, next they represent on this one. I think this one I just skip. Okay, 23, affect low carbon waste practice on job satisfaction is site manager through the job stress. Also, they start with the samples to involve G7 construction firms operation in Malaysia. So next, they highlight that in this edition, they has the highest experience in green building project in Malaysia. In 2009, 4,326 G7's construction company has been registered under CIDB. In the present study, the population sample consists of site manager working in the construction companies. Okay, so they explain about the distribution, the numbers of distribution. So they go through specifically how many they get, how many percentage they get from the total distribution questionnaire. Okay, measurement of the construct. This one they highlight about the standards. And we already know that sometimes we call that already saturated. When we go to the first article, second article, third article, fourth article, we already know that mostly if you want to write methodology, this is the most important thing you need to write. Okay, that's why I'm just go through make it fast. Untuk yang slide yang terakhir ni, because that we actually quite little bit same with the previous. Okay. This one also data analysis, they mentioned using SAM, okay, has been widely applied by numbers. So they start with a lot of the research using SAM. The reason for application SAM is a capability in performing a wide range of theory and concept. So because you want to test a theory and concept, they actually recommend using the SAM. Okay, so they discuss about two techniques mostly in the SAM, either covariance based on the techniques or variant based on partial least square. So kalau covariant based technique CBSAM, kalau untuk partial least square dari PLSM, this study took advantage to PLSM method, structure Gaussian modeling to employ the SMART, assess the structure models, and generally make no assumption about the data distribution. Okay, they're choosing PLSM lah. Okay. Next, 24, the effect of enhanced primary healthcare interventions on primary care provider job satisfaction. So the study was part of the, okay, because this one study on the healthcare. So they're a little bit, a lot of the challenge if you want to study in the healthcare is about the research ethics. Okay, to get the permission, something like that. Okay, the study was part of the AHPH evaluation project conducted at 40 public primary care clinic. It's a quasi-experimental study with the primary objective evaluating the impact of ENPSC intervention of the process. Okay. Their population of study, our study include the all HSBC were to directly involve the patient management, blah, blah, blah. They have consist of family medicine specialist, medical doctor, assistant medical officer, nurse, pharmacist, dietitian, nutritionist, psychotherapist, occupational therapist, the medical, social workers. Alright, then they discuss on the data collection timeline. So they start with the April and May 2017. So they highlight about the date and how long about to in order to get all the data. Okay, dependent variable, they explain also their dependent variables. Also, they highlight that this dependent variable will be tested using the Scala Likert. Okay, independent variable also they represent they're including the age, gender, education level, overall duration, practice. So mostly their demographics, patient demographic will be used or unit respondent. We call that respondent lah. Unit analysis from the respondent will be used in part of the demography. Okay. Okay, next 25 is about the knowledge principle barrier facilitators of medication error report, a quantitative survey in Malaysia primary care clinics. Okay, this a cross-sectional study conduct from March to May 2016 using validated questionnaire. HSP working the selected primary care outpatient clinic under the Ministry of Health of Malaysia. 4 states were involved. We were to conveniently sample to represent 4 regions in Peninsular Malaysia. District was selected in each state. All the primary care clinic under the MOH list under each district would then include at the target study site. A total of 37 clinics were involved in this study. Okay, next they explain more detail on the target population and then the number of samples and they are categorized. Okay, questionnaire development, they explain the questionnaire developments. Okay, the series for the in-depth interview also, exploring knowledge. So you should be using the questionnaire in-depth part. Okay, all right, because they are using the quasi experiment. Okay, all right. Another thing, they also highlight on in term of content validity. Okay, all the item is fit. Next, they discuss about the reliability in on the Chromebooks Alpha also okay. And the questionnaire consists 5 parts. They explain. Okay, you can also write in your thesis, so you can explain one by one your consist on all the part of your interview. In this case, they have 5 parts. We start the respondent background. Secondly, about the knowledge on the 22 question about the knowledge. 23 question about the barrier and reporting. Facilitator for reporting, another 14 question. Lastly, they have reporting practice, 2 question on experience with reporting ME from their interviews. Okay, ethical approval that I highlight that the most important thing if you want to study in healthcare, hospital or clinic or pharmacist, you need to get the approval. So in this research, the Medical Research Ethics Committee Ministry and MRRR, okay, International Islamic University of Malaysia Research Ethics Committee approved this study. Permission was obtained from the respective director for Health State Department District Health Office. Okay, the survey questionnaire was enclosed with the cover letter, brief describe a survey and consent statement. Completing and returning a questionnaire serves signify the respondent voluntary consents. Okay, 26, a knowledge, attitude and practice. Sometimes we call that KAP. K from knowledge, A attitude, P a practice. A study of prevention through the design. Dynamic insights into civil structure engineer in Malaysia. Okay, they start with the writing to start with the highlight the date actually. This study was performed in early 2018. A part of intervention program initiate the collaborative Department of Occupational Safety (DOSH) and Construction Industry Development Board (CIDB) in Malaysia. Okay, then they discuss also the described by O'Green and Levinson, having workshop and research method is suitable engaged participant who share the common domain have to expectation to achieve something related their own interest in case the PTD implementation. Okay, if you are notice from the example number 1 until number 26, you notify that I'm color a box. Sometimes the box a red color, blue color. This are just, that's why I make it the red box here, because they have the citation. So this is really important. Example, if you are face the same situation, so to bring a justification why you choose this location, why you choose this variable, so you can get the idea to cite the same people also, but you need to read the original article before you cite, but you at least you get the idea. So sometimes it's very difficult when you write, you want to make it selection in term certain thing, you make it selection in certain thing, but you actually don't have proven, or you don't have any support to support these decisions. Okay. Next, I think this one is skip. So questionnaire survey also discuss the same thing, that you actually questionnaire who you want to send the questionnaire, and your respondent or unit analysis, how you about your items. So actually you add that from who. So from the questionnaire they have a few sections. So section A1, for example, section 1 general information, section 2 is about the knowledge, section 2, 3 about the attitudes. Okay. Okay, section D about the practice. This is common lah. When you want to write on the questionnaire development, at least this is the idea, but actually it's mostly same since example number 1 until this one, 26. Okay, we go to the 27, knowledge, attitude, perception of Muslim parents toward vaccination in Malaysia. Okay, in this is a descriptive, explorative cross-sectional study among Malaysian Muslim parents. So they mention the date when they start 1 March to 31st May 2019. So, okay, we go to the below one. The response of the participation were filtered using inclusion and exclusion criteria. So they divide by 2. So they by filtering, but they divide by 2, inclusion and exclusion. So inclusion criteria, Malaysian Muslim citizen, married or divorced but having a child. Exclusion, those not willing to participate in the survey, overseas Muslim living in Malaysia, unmarried Malaysian Muslim citizens. So we know that which the mostly suitable respondent in order to answer their items. Okay, they have to also highlight here regarding on the instruments. So how many items that we use. So in terms of reliability, they're using the Cronbach Alpha that explain about the Scala Likert also. Okay, then this one represent the number of respondents. Okay, okay, the last one, the relationship between intellectual capital information and firm market value, a study from emerging economy. Okay, this one little bit different. Example number 1 until 27 mostly is primary data. So this one, last example is actually from the secondary data. So the secondary data we start highlight to all listed company on QSE of the year 2010 were selected except from the Malaysian Petrochemical Holding Company because it was established in 2013. The study selected 2 periods. First period consists the year 2010, 11, 12, and the second period comprised 2016, 17, 18. There was a gap 3 years between the 2 periods based on expectation that IC disclosure will improve over the period 2010 until 2018. Therefore, the sample consists 42 companies per year with a total panel data 250 companies for the 6 years. Okay, this is common. This is common. If you want to study secondary data for your PhD, you should know that the data from which year. You need to highlight year. How many years? 3 years, 5 years. Sometimes in analysis, in the secondary data, if your data is, for example, you have data is 5 years and above, you can using this analysis. If your data is not enough, your data is very small, you cannot apply for the analysis. So that's why you need to explain the number of years. You need to explain a lot of your data, how many about the data. So despite that, the complex, this part will be guide you to identify which the purposive analysis you can apply. Okay. All right. Okay, data collection, secondary resource will use to collect data to need to achieve their objective. The data will obtain from the Bloomberg database and the annual report of the company. So this is common lah for the Bloomberg database using the data from the annual report, which is anything a statistical report, and that they that I think that maybe by mostly by year lah. Actually, let's see, annual report is year, something by it's depend by circle. Maybe in 1 year have the four report by circle. Okay, okay, that's it. To cover, I'm sorry because quite rush to discuss 28 example. I'm sorry because I think that little bit my my explaining not cover every single line, and sometimes because it's quite repeated. Okay, I hope so you a little bit get some idea. Not little bit lah. I think we will increase your understanding and meaningful to understand how to write in the quantitative research. We can compare what the difference between qualitative and quantitative. So yeah, last week we go just only 11, but I try to rigorously, deeply to explain this 11 because every single article they have give different understanding. But in this case, yes, I give 28, but mostly sound like repeating the same thing. So we can know that we can get the pattern. This commonly, if you are studying in quantitative research, in what is commonly your outline and to represent section or subsections, paragraph and another paragraph, we know that what should be you explain. If you missing it, if you don't explain, for example, you don't explain about your Scala Likert, you have problem when the panel will be ask you how about Likert scale, why you not highlight on this. You not highlight your item questionnaire from adapt or adopt from who, for this item you get from where. Okay, you not discuss on that. So you not discuss about population and sampling and justification. Why you choose Kelantan, for example, you don't have the reasons. So why you choose the analysis, why you choose SAMPLS, what the benefit of SAMPLS, you not explain on this. So this all the matter will be increase your knowledge actually, and to we know that I know that this is your first semester. Okay, a lot of things you want to study, but for me, this is a good step, a good step, a good stage actually, the good phase also in order to learn to get many things, especially on the writing, because thesis is about writing. So you should be know that what actually you need to write, why you need to write, how to write, and what, why, and how also. Okay, I open any questions. If you want to ask any questions, okay, I just because we're already in week 10, actually I try to discuss more on the examples. Okay, we have already covered since week 1 until week 8 a lot of things, a lot of lecture cover on the start on the chapter 1, chapter 2, and chapter 3. So that's why I think that last 5 weeks we should be discussed on the example and example. Okay, ada soalan nak tanya? Anything okay?
Doktor.
Bagi saya, silakan.
Saya nak tanya berkenaan dengan, saya baru first time dengar G-Power, PLS, SPSS dengan PLS, SEM. Itu semua adalah method of analysis kan?
Quantitative, dia mostly, this is a software that use mostly on the research quantitative.
Okay, so let's say kalau saya dah guna survey dan juga case study, saya kena guna juga teknik analisis yang teknik tadi tu untuk
for example lah, case study okay lah. For case study is qualitative. Okay, you using survey. Okay, if you using survey, you want to develop questionnaire. Is it betul kan? Survey mesti kena develop questionnaire. So in terms of questionnaire, how you develop that questionnaire? You actually adapt from who? Okay. After that, you clear on that you actually, like for example, you actually adapt from the several authors. Okay, in order to collect the data, okay, you need to identify what type sampling technique and sampling size use. So tadilah, because you using survey, nak tahu sampling size, you can use G-Power, guna Carnegie Morgan ke, Cohen ke, Isaac Michael. We have a lot of the scholar to represent. Some of them just using table, some use formula, some use G-Power. G-Power actually they have bring a software actually, so very friendly software. So in order to that use the software, you need to filter, you need to highlight that your numbers of populations, you need to highlight what type of analysis. For example, survey, you want to study what type of analysis. If you want to study regression, you need to choose regression. So you put the number of population, then you choose a regression that the G-Power will be generate which the ideal number for the sampling size. Okay. I think that you can learn also like, yeah, I know that from case study also, in case study also survey, but in order to run the survey also little bit from our discussion tonight, you can apply also, especially in order to develop the questionnaire, to identify the sample, how many the sample, so how about analysis. Yes, I know that from the descriptive or survey you can analyze by Excel, but in terms of systematic, why they are using the SPSS? Because SPSS is one of the excellent software in order to analysis on the social research. And then for the numerical and statistical, if you have many data, the large sample data, SPSS is the friendly lah, because just one the same data, just only click and click and click and click, then suddenly you can get the result. If you using Excel, that you need to formalize, and then you need to setting, you need to, I think that is okay using the Excel, but sometimes you maybe need to increase step lah. You many I'm sorry, because okay, previously I using Excel, okay, never mind, but because Excel also good, but nowadays they have software SPSS, so you can use SPSS, but it depends lah. The software is depend the type of analysis, so difference SPSS, SAM, PLS, so they have little bit same, mostly they are different. So why the research need to SAM, PLS, for example, like from the example from the article, because they have the moderating effects. They want to using moderating effect in the single frameworks. So SAM, PLS can be answer on that. SPSS, yeah, we can answer, but the long cut lah, dia punya proses panjang lah, kan? So kita ada yang friendly method untuk SAM, PLS. Why not why we don't choose the SAM, PLS? So because LSM dia punya benefit on that specifically. Okay, ada soalan lain?
Satu lagi doktor. Untuk yang the numbers of years yang from the previous study, seperti yang doktor mentionkan tadi, so maksudnya kita sekarang pada tahun 2021, so 5 years before means 2016 lah paling latest kita boleh ambil untuk
5 years back lah, 5 tahun segini 2021, sebab because we consider that kita grad bila. Kita grad bila. If you think that you grad 2022, meaning that 22, 21, 20, 19, 18. Because the panel will be ask you on, for example, like your Viva is 2023. So the panel will know that notice 5 years back should be 2023, 22, 21, 2019. But also they are also consider 2017, 2016. But as a fact, if when we discuss 5 years back, latest reference should be represent on date your submit or your date on your Viva. So they calculate start from that date. Then they go to reverse lah 5 years back. Okay. Ada soalan yang lain?
Assalamualaikum doktor.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Kita akan ada kelas SPSS ke nanti?
Oh, dia macam ni. Kalau untuk my degree student, I'm covered. But in this case, we are not covered because in university, we have specific class. If you want to go to the SPSS, we have another class. You need to register another class specific on the quantitative analysis. So that class will cover step by step on the SPSS. You need to join another class. Not this one for the research methodology. Okay.
Okay.
So not this. I can cover lah, but I think that nanti lecturer lain marah lah. So because in UPSI we have the specific class on that. You need to register. Maybe next semester you need to register on that class.
Okay, doctor. Thank you.
You can register, no problem. Because you can register for audit paper. This research methodology also audit paper. No grading A, B, C, no. So just audit paper. Is it your pass or fail? So you can join another class. So if you are after this, if you want to study on the qualitative, you have another class for the qualitative. You want to study on the SPSS, we have the class on the SPSS. If you want to study instrument, we have another class for instrument. But I think that for the instrument for others faculty FPM, so you can register in FEM to study more detail on the instruments developments. Okay, but in this part also we cover on the research method, focus on the research method and not research analysis. So we have another class for analysis. Okay.
Okay, Doktor.
Tapi in general nak tanya boleh lah, nak tanya kenapa macam tu. But we actually we don't have hands on the SPSS. Okay, ada soalan? Kalau dekat bahagian chatting also don't have any questions. Okay.
Assalamualaikum Doktor.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Saya nak tanya pasal respond rate tadi dalam antara contoh yang Doktor bagi tu kan. So ada pasal respond rate sikit lah untuk quantitative
respond rate, ya
research.
betul.
Okay, saya actually tak berapa faham sangat pasal respond rate ni. Okay, let's say lah contoh kan, kalau saya punya study perlukan 100 responden. Okay, so Doktor ada any advice tak, any technique to use to determine how much questionnaire untuk saya distribute so that I have enough respondent yang return back the questionnaire. So that in total I have 100.
Okay, it's common. Okay, macam ni. Okay, first thing first, you need to explain about populations. Before you discuss, I need exactly 100 respond rate. Okay, the number of sample fixed, we need at least minimum 100. But you need to discuss first thing first is we call that populations. So after you get the numbers of population, you need to discuss about the sampling frames. So sampling frame meaning that you need to screening. So what is exactly the population? So or you need to screening the specific population. So you go through the large population and screening a population. And then you finalize, oh, my population like this. Okay, what is the numbers of last populations? So from that, you need using the G power. Okay, using the G power, something like that. Finally, G power recommend that at least minimum you should get 100. Okay, based on your question, get 100. So how many quantity and questionnaire to distribute? Okay, this should be have the scholar. Okay, they have many style. Okay, for example, when you read a books on the research methodology, some scholar advise you need to increase 20%. For example, if you are 100, you want to increase 20%, meaning that you need to increase another 20. You need 120. So in my case, I check in my style. I'm check from the previous study. Okay, I know that I'm studying in automotive. I know that previous study also study in automotive. Yes, the topic is different, but my case, our population and respondent are same. Okay, based on my friend study or other scholars studies in the automotive industry, their study response rate is only 20%. For example, they send 1,000, only get 200, meaning that their response rate only 20%, very low. So in my case, because my previous case is very low, I need to minus. I need to increase my sample 80%, 80%, because previously other study in this place only get 20%. Sorry, meaning that only get the 20% only. So that lack of the 80%. So in my case, because I'm also need to study in automotive, I need to add another 80% to cover my case. So this is another type. But you can check on the research methodology book. Sometimes their highlight can be simply increase 20%, 30%, 40%, 50%. But because my experience, I don't simply just add the number. So I depend on the experience. If I want to collect data in the school, I don't have any problems. Okay, my study in the education, go to the school, I don't have any problem. Sometimes I can get 100% feedbacks. But if I study in hospitals, I study in automotive, in oil gas industry, okay, I very difficult to get very good numbers. For example, last time I study automotive, only get 8%. You just imagine you send 1,000, you just only get around 80. And something like that lah. Only get 8% only. So because this is a critical industry, very difficult to get the large number response. Unless you go through what we call that field works. Okay, you go through one by one people. You just wait and wait to get the number. If you go to the online ataupun you pergi hantar, pergi visit just to send and discuss with the HR person or person in charge. Another date you just came and ambil balik return kita punya questionnaire tu. But my experience is not really good lah. That's why it's depend on the topic. Sorry, depend on the place and environment also in order to increase the number. But in generally, most of the students just simply wait. It's not wrong actually, but because senang kan, just read a book. So sekarang advice increase 40%, then you put increase 40%. Macam itulah. Okay? Tapi it depends lah. Kalau for me it depends. I believe that you cannot submit. If you have actually you nak dapatkan 100, you send 100 tu berani sangat lah. I believe that sometimes questionnaire tak lengkap, tak jawab, mati missing, tak dapat balik. Kan kita nak dapat 100, you ada 100. Rasanya you are actually play the risk lah. Play the risk lah. Kalau saya punya supervisor, saya memang tak advise sangat 20% lah, because 100 tu sikit. Jadi better set banyak lah. Because in statistik, nombor yang banyak lagi baik. Contohlah, if you mention 100 dengan 200, which one better? Better is 200. If you are 200, 500, which one better? 500. If you are 500 and 1,000, which better? 1,000. Tu that the statistical punya benefits lagi banyak lagi bagus. Macam itulah. Tapi kita ada time limitation, time limitation, logistic limitation, money limitation. That's why we need to have the subset. You have to dapatkan ideal sampling size. Okay. Okay, ada soalan lain?
Thank you, Doktor.
Okay. Tengoklah 100 tu macam sikit sangat tu. Tengoklah you kena looking forward dengan type of analysis. Ada setengah analisis 100 tak cukup. Dia prefer 200. Jadi every analysis kadang-kadang dia punya assumption, syarat dia kadang-kadang dia ada specific data. Jadi itu pun kena check juga. Certain analysis dia perlukan 200.5, ada perlu 300. So kita tak boleh juga tengok sekolah dia kata 100 cukup. Kita kena tengok juga apa analisis yang kita guna. Yeah? Yang lain ada soalan nak tanya? Okay, you still can ask tau dekat WhatsApp group. If you have any questions, okay. And if you have time to read and listening again this video, so you already start to read journal or thesis, some paragraph, some sentence you are not unclear, for example. Okay, snapshot ke and write ke any question in kat WhatsApp group lah. So WhatsApp group tu as another support system lah to us in order to increase our knowledge and understand on this subject. So kita ada juga continuity lah after class. Okay, I think dah tak ada soalan, better kita stop. Okay, better can stop. So we continue for the next week on the mixed method. So mixed method is okay because mixed method is combination on the qualitative and quantitative. So when we study mixed method, we actually learn about qualitative and quantitative again. So that's why I have mixed method 1, mixed method 2. So actually we cover again our qualitative and quantitative. So why suddenly the qualitative, why suddenly quantitative, why dominancy is quanti, dominant is quali. So why we need mixed method. So I think that mixed method the best subject lah, because when we start to cover mixed method, actually we blend everything. Okay, we can get basic on quali, basic in quanti, so why we need to combine, why we need to answer split, why the different, for example case study, and why the different. So case study is a qualitative, but in qualitative, in case study they have survey, they have interview. So how to differentiate between limitation between case survey in qualitative, survey in quantitative. So this all method complex will be answered in the mixed method design. Okay. Okay, kita jumpa minggu depan. Terima kasih banyak-banyak. Minta maaf any error and any sebutan yang tak lancar tadi, minta maaf sangat-sangat. Time rushing. Okay. I hope so that we will increase our understanding about methodology, specifically today in quantitative. So we continue next week for the mixed method. Terima kasih banyak-banyak. Okay, Assalamualaikum dan selamat sejahtera.